Welcome to Wooden Bike Wednesday. This is Jay with Sojourn Cyclery. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of designing the seat stay and the chain stay. But first, I want to zoom into this drop mechanism here and give you a closer look. This drop is made up of components that you can buy from Sojourn Cyclery and Paragon Machine Works. This outer part is the part you get from Sojourn Cyclery. It's made of 4.8 millimeter stainless steel, laser cut. It articulates to accommodate different sizes of frames. These tabs are designed to be inserted in the wood frame. As an added bonus, it comes apart at this joint so you could accommodate a Gates carbon drive. These two pieces are held together with a 6 millimeter screw. This whole assembly is called a rocker drop. The rocker drop insert is made by Paragon Machine Works, and it articulates back and forth to take up the tension in the belt or the chain. This is the website for Paragon Machine Works. You can get there at www.paragonmachineworks, all one word, .com. Mark Norstad is an avid cyclist and a crack machinist. I had the privilege of meeting Mark at NAB's North American Hand-Built Show, and he does a really nice job of mixing new machining technology with some old machining technology, and he just creates beautiful parts. If you look at the frame building parts tab and you click on the rocker drop, this is the one that I'm interested in. All of these inserts will bolt right into the insert that Sojourn makes, the bracket. So there's a huge variety. We've got just traditional derailleur hangers and Alfine and ISO disc mounts, flat mount discs or flat mount brakes, just about anything you can imagine, through axle, Rollhoff. There's an insert that will meet your needs. Now this is a tandem I've designed for a couple down in Florida. They're elderly and they wanted sort of a simple cruiser type frame that would be a step through. I'm going to use this as our example to show you how to lay out the chainstay and the seat stay. I'm showing you in 3D form just to get your boundaries, but you really don't need 3D CAD to do this. Imagine you're laying out your sheet of paper along these two planes, which I've labeled the seat stay and the chainstay plane. So all you really need to do is some creative layout work, looking straight down on it, like in this orientation for the seat stay, and you would capture the diameter of the tire, and the spacing is all the way it needs to be. The spacing to this drop needs to be whatever your hub will be for the back. I'm using 135 millimeters. And you would simply draw some lines that would blend from the face of the seat stay stub to the face of the drop, and then another parallel line to that, making sure that you have clearance around your tire. And you would do the same thing along this plane representing the chainstay. I created a section view using my chainstay plane. I'll change the shading on this so it looks more like a drawing file. I'm going to be using that chainstay plane as my sketching plane. So if you're using paper, you would just look at it at this orientation. I'll go ahead and turn off these planes so it's a little less confusing. My chainstay will have a thickness of 16 millimeters, and it will be made up of 5 laminations, 3.2 millimeters each. So it's actually going to be ground off to a flat over here on this side, and that thickness will be 1 lamination, or 3.2 millimeters. And by the same token, I want the outer shell of the outside of the chainstay to be 1 lamination, or 3.2 millimeters from that edge as well. Now that I have those two guidelines established, I'll offset them the thickness of the stay, or I should say draw a line parallel. Now I'm going to use a style spline. I'm going to start in here because this will be ground away. I can actually start here and make a few dots, and of course I want to avoid my tire. Don't want the tire to rub, and I think I'll land it somewhere right in there. Pull that up like so. I could probably move this forward a bit. Oops. Let's see. I'd like to give myself a little more clearance around that tire. Can move this down a bit more. So I'm just sort of playing around with this, trying to get it to flow nicely. That looks a little bit better. But we got to be careful because we don't want to have a situation where our heel is hitting the chainstay as we're pedaling around. So you want it kind of close to the tire, but not too close. There's a kind of a delicate balance. And if you have a need for fat tires, like on a mountain bike, you might even have to do some additional tricks to pull that off. We can talk about that in future videos. So that looks reasonable to me. Let me go ahead and offset this line or draw a parallel line to it by 16 millimeters over on this side. Zoom out and see how that ties into the outside line. So just to get you oriented here, this is the cross section of the tire, and this is the back end of the frame, and this represents the drop. And these lines will be the lines that will pick up the top view looking straight down on top of the chainstay. And this line is also the line that will be used to cut the what we call the buck, the form that this chainstay will be shaped on. I want to draw some reference lines in here. Choose a midpoint of that line. This is going right through the center of the bottom bracket. Let me go ahead and draw a line right on this line, which is the front edge of that socket for the chainstay. So that would be the termination of the chainstay on that end, and this is the terminal point of the chainstay on that side. I'm going to go ahead and highlight, draw a line right over the top of that, and exit that sketch. So now if I go to edit sketch and then just window around this, I can do a control copy, open up a new file, and paste that on the top plane. So if you're working with a drawing board, basically this is what you would have, the top view of this chainstay looking straight down. And I'll spend a little time here off screen tidying this up so that it looks right. But this is sort of the bones of the chainstay from the top view. So here it is tidied up, and of course I can go ahead, if this is a solid model package, I'm going to go ahead and extrude it. I'm going to choose to go mid-plane and just kind of pull it up into that direction. Something like that would look more than enough. Okay, so this would be a chunk of wood looking straight down that will eventually become the chainstay. So the next step will be to draw the outline of the side view of this chainstay. So this gives you a perspective of what we were looking at, how this slices through here. I'm going to undo this section view, and now we're going to focus on what it takes to shape this side view of the chainstay. So the first thing I'm going to do is use this as my sketch plane, and I'm going to do what's called a convert entities. It basically just turns these edges into lines for my sketch. Now I drew this construction line that's approximately 25 millimeters. I'm going to use my style spline to blend, throw a few points in here. I want to blend this line into that construction point and make it tangent, and I'll do the same thing at the bottom. Just run a style spline along here until I get it to be tangent. Now I can kind of pull these handles a little bit to make this look a little more fluid. So I'll go ahead and play with this a little bit offline, but this could be a little bit tedious. This is what I've come up with. So I'm going to take this sketch and copy it. And so now I've opened up that Chainstay file. I'm going to choose my front plane as my sketch plane, and I will go ahead and copy that side view of the Chainstay. While it's highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and move it into position using this point as my drag point. And there we go. I used my cut feature to cut away everything except for the shape of the side view. So this is what the Chainstay looks like. I'll go ahead and throw a circle in there to represent the bottom bracket. Make that cut. So it looks like a chainstay to me. So for a reality check, I went ahead and I put the chainstay into the original assembly. I changed the color of the wood so it would stand out a little bit. You can see that it fits rather well. Now this is just sort of an advantage of using three-dimensional CAD. You don't have to do this. Again, if you're just using a drawing board, all you need is a drawing of this top view and a drawing of the side view. And you'll want to make those drawings full scale so you can just physically cut out the paper and glue them onto the blank of the chainstay, and you can make your chainstay directly by cutting it out with a bandsaw and a drill press. So your outcome should look something like this, whether you use a drawing board or a CAD system. You'll need a top view, and the top view will serve for both the right and the left chainstay. And then you'll need a right side view and a left side view. These drawings are to be printed out full scale. You'll glue them right onto the wooden blank and cut them out with a bandsaw. Next Wooden Bike Wednesday, I'll get into the process of designing the seat stays. So have a great week. Thanks so much for watching.